G'day viewers. I've often thought about this little speech by Malcolm Turnbull and knew it was lies when it came out of his mouth about listening to the markets, about this is going to be a Liberal Party that, you know, defends the individual and listens to the markets and so on and so forth. What a load of rot. I knew that as soon as he said it. I thought, yeah, none of you have listened to the market or been, let market forces happen for 100 years. So you're not going to start now, are you? So just have a listen to that.
Rather than seeking to lecture. This will be a thoroughly Liberal government. It will be a thoroughly Liberal government committed to freedom, the individual and the market.
Watch my lips. Lies. Total lies. Then he's made over here Janet Yellen. Banks very much stronger. Another financial crisis not likely in our lifetime. That was another little laughing point for me. So I just thought I'd go back into the internet and find these little snippets of information just to let you know that these people are clueless. They have no idea. They have not read Austrian economics. They've not read Ludwig von Mises or Murray Rothbard or Joseph Salerno or Chris Liethner. So none of them know anything about sound money, what money is, and they know nothing about economics because they got their degrees in universities that teach Keynesian economics. John Maynard Keynes came up with the idea that a government can print money until things come good and then pay back the debt, release the government bonds, let them mature and pay back the debt with the good times. And of course they always resort to printing money. They have done since the Roman times, but they never pay it back. They always end up defaulting. So we're heading for a currency crisis and foreign debt crisis, austerity measures, you name it. But I think this time we're heading for a total political collapse, which would be fantastic because only prosperity comes from freedom, not from government regulations, not from 5,000 pages of laws being written since the birth of the Federation. And whenever your currency is not a measurement of a weight of gold or silver, when it's not money, when it's only currency, and the government says what it is, and the government can print a 10 on a piece of plastic and say that's worth double what the 5 is written on the other piece of plastic, and really they both have the same value, about zero. Whenever a government does that, eventually we will end up with no one wanting to use the currency any longer. And we're in the early stages now of this collapse. So all the booms that they initiated, encouraged with their fiat currency, their printed money, the buying of government bonds by the Reserve Bank, which is just each one typing into a computer screen and putting a little credit on each other's account from nowhere and manipulating the economy. The free market economy is dead. It's long dead. We don't have capitalism. We don't have savings. We don't have... Capitalism is people making everyone else's life way better and enriching themselves in the meantime. That's capitalism. And the capitalism is also the free market is the free exchange of goods and ideas without interference. We haven't always had income tax, ladies and gentlemen. We haven't always had income tax. Read a bit of history. And the government is not there to tell us who should be in the hospitals and who should be in the schools, and they're not there to employ teachers and doctors and build roads. They're not there for that. And they should be voluntarily chosen by us to represent us, but they don't represent us. So in a free market, we would have competing courts, competing lawyers, competing hospitals, the same as you would have a hospital membership like you would a gym membership. You'd pay quite a small fee per year to know that anytime you needed help, you could get medical help instantly. You would have doctors competing for your business. You would have road builders competing for your business. Councils, people that supply the water and pick up the rubbish, competing companies, competing for your business. Only in that environment can we have low prices. And everyone seems to want high prices. They want inflation. Well, you know, the stamps, the Australian stamps just went up by 10 cents, from $1 to $1.10. That's the government admitting, bold face, that the inflation rate is 10%, not 2%. And why is it 10%? What is the inflation rate? All it is the amount of money the government prints ahead of the amount of goods and services that are produced. And they're scared of deflation because they lose their tax base. And they get their tax base from the money they print already, from their own currency system. The people in the Roman Empire worked one day a year to pay their taxes. They thought that was fairly fair. But no days a year is the fairest. And then you just do what you want with your hard-earned wealth. And they knew what money was. They used gold and silver coins. And there was no problem until the government decided to wage too many wars in too many far-off lands and debase the currency by pouring copper into the gold coins. But people knew which ones had copper in them. And that's where you get the expression, good money after bad. They always spent the bad money first, and they saved the good money. Well, now, today, we are so far removed from that. Since 1914, since the Federal Reserve Bank was enacted by an Act of Parliament, and the Reserve Bank of Australia in 1958, go and read the Banking Act and the Reserve Bank Act, and you can see how people sitting around in an office somewhere can write laws to write themselves in a central bank. Then you have central planning. You have a centrally planned economy. And we saw what happened with the centrally planned economy in Russia, in the USSR, I should say. It disintegrated. No one knows what the price of anything should be anymore. And the output of the economy, the labour, there is no incentive to work. So it destroys an economy eventually. And the central banks of the world, we have total world socialism. We have total world communism. So don't think that what we have today is capitalism. We do not have capitalism. We have socialism. We have socialised schools, hospitals, roads, real estate agencies, even plumbers. Everyone has to go and get a license to use a chainsaw, to go fishing. Everyone's got to go and be regulated and do a little training course. And then you've got a trainer assessor that's making money where they never should have been, unless they were employed directly by the company to train people. So up springs all these businesses and all the fiat currency and the wealth, your sweat goes in the wrong places. That's why we're in trouble now. And the biggest trouble is yet to come. We've only just started. And everyone's treading water in fairyland at the moment, saying, oh, good, the virus is going away, or whatever the thing that they blamed on the shutdown. I don't say anything about I don't know anything about any viruses. All I know is I never got it. Well, I went to the Philippines and hopefully I did get it. And no one I know got it. And some people in Canberra closed the whole country down, shut the country down. The media whipped up the government and managed to shut us down. And you don't just turn everything off and then turn it back on. I mean, the good thing is all the coffee shops are going broke. They should have been going broke. Too long have we been sitting around sipping lattes in cafes telling everyone how smart we are, when we should have, not let the factories move overseas. We should have not bought in all the bean counters and the box tickers that make starting a business in Australia so expensive that you'll do anything but have a business here. The shoe factory is not going to start up here. We know why, because their inflation has made everything too expensive. Their subsidies make everything expensive. Now they're coming in with price controls. I won't name the person I saw in the local paper the other day applauding electricity price controls. Well, if someone comes along and freezes the amount of profit margin you can make and your costs go up, which they are, which they have been since we went off the gold standard in 1972, and really off the 100% long before that, back in the early 1900s. Your cost of production goes up higher than your profit. You don't go to work anymore. You just give it up. You go home. The farmer pours the milk out and leaves the wheat to rot in the field because nobody goes to work for a loss. That's what's next, is price controls and a lack of production because of it. As if it wasn't already clobbered. That's all for today. Thanks for watching, guys.